Yes, well, this week is all about educating and encouraging safe behaviour around trains and tracks. A person was killed after being struck by a train on Thursday, and unfortunately these incidents aren't unusual. In the past 10 years there have been 190 collisions with cars, 26 with pedestrians, and 28 people have lost their lives. Now, the theme of this week is Expect Trains, and for more I'm joined by County's Manukau Road Policing Manager, Inspector Alison Brand. Good morning, Alison.
Good morning.
Some staggering statistics there. Why have there been so many collisions?
Well, we still have some people making poor decisions around pedestrian and vehicle crossings around our rail network. As you can see, a lot of these railway crossings go through urban or built-up areas, and people aren't showing patience. If the vehicle arms and barriers are down, as well as lights and bells flashing, please show patience. Wait for them to be completed and then continue through in a safe manner.
Is that what you're seeing? Are you seeing people go through these bells and alarms?
Unfortunately we are. People just are being impatient. So again, we just encourage everyone, remind everyone, wait until the lights and bells are finished and the barriers are up.
Okay, and with electric trains now in Auckland, I understand people now need to take even more care. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The new trains are faster and they're quieter. So we need to remind people that when they're travelling through the rail network, that they're to take off their headphones if they're listening to music. Obviously not be on cell phones, and be mindful of when you're approaching these railway crossings, because often you will not see or hear the trains approaching.
Okay, and just quickly, you can get fined for ignoring safety warnings. Tell me about some of those fines.
Yes, you can. Police can issue infringement notices up to $150, but more importantly, it can cost you with your life. Police don't want to issue infringement notices. We want to remind people to be safe and to get to their destination in a safe manner.
Okay, thank you. So yes, too many people being injured or killed on rail lines. That is totally preventable. We will be speaking with a train driver about the incidents that they see out on the tracks on a weekly basis. The number of incidents involving motorists running lights and bells and failing to give way is staggering. There have been 190 collisions in the past 10 years and more than 700 near misses. Pedestrians too are a big issue. There have been more than 150 people have lost their lives in the last 15 years, and these incidents not only have an impact on the victim and the victim's family, but also train drivers. And for more, I'm joined by locomotive engineer Martin Glover. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning.
You've been driving trains for the past 7 years. Have you ever had any serious incidents?
I've been involved in one fatality where a gentleman stepped off the passenger train I was driving. As the train pulled away from the platform, he did a karate kick at the side of the train and slipped down between the platform and the train, and unfortunately his daughter and partner were with him, so they had to go through that. By the time I stopped the train and came back, there were witnesses there that were trying to help out, comfort the little girl on the platform. It was horrendous injuries, and it's something you don't want to see too often, I tell you that. Yeah, so it affected a lot of people at the time, myself included, but the witnesses that stepped in to help, afterwards they were shaking like leaves as well, you know, so it's not a good thing.
Yes, I can imagine that would be horrific. Now, what sort of behaviour do you see from motorists and pedestrians out on the tracks?
Well, almost on a daily basis, certainly on a weekly basis, we all experience near misses. People running around barrier arms, for example, pedestrians coming up to cross the tracks. Maybe they've got their headphones on listening to their music, and they're just not aware that the trains are coming. Another one is little kids on the platforms too, coming too close to the edge. It gives you a fright, really does.
All right, and just quickly, what goes through your mind when you see pedestrians and motorists on these tracks?
Your heart leaps into your throat, it really does, and instinct takes over. You reach for the brake. There's not much point in putting the brake on a freight train because you're not going to stop in a hurry. But yeah, it's just the old heart rate goes up, and you just pray that they're going to get out of the way.
All right, thanks, Marty. So yes, these incidents have a huge impact on everyone involved. I think it's also important to note that a fully laden train going 80k an hour takes about a kilometre to stop. So unfortunately, if you're on the track at that time, you're unfortunately most likely going to get hit.
It's something that sticks with you. It doesn't go away. It's probably the closest feeling I've ever come to total helplessness. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Just think when you run in front of a train, there's someone in there who has to deal with that and try and deal with the effects of it. That's a real sort of heart in your mouth scenario. It's someone making a split decision and not really thinking about the effect it's going to have on others. Oh no, not the baby, not the baby.
Oh my gosh, some of these are like pretty hard out, eh?
To be honest, it's probably something I think about every time I go past that crossing now.
This affects families, this doesn't just affect one person, yeah?
You may get across 9 times out of 10, but on that 10th time, it could cost you your life.
I've been driving trains now for the past 32 years. I enjoyed the life of a locomotive engineer for the solitude you have when you're out by yourself. You're doing your job and it's just you.
I like the challenge of a heavy, long train over a challenging track. There's a good sense of achievement when you get to the other end.
It's different because you're not stuck in an office from 9 to 5, you're out there, and every day's different. It's never the same.
I've always wanted to be a train driver.
You're pretty much your own boss.
For me, the least favourite route has got to be the suburban area because of the volume of people at the side of the track, people on platforms, people at level crossings. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have situational awareness about what's going on. So often we see them with earphones in and a cell phone in front of them.
Yeah, with the earphones, they just can't hear the bells. And then because you're looking down, you can't see the flashing lights. And they just keep going.
I've probably once a week would see a vehicle either drive around a barrier arm or go through a stop sign. Pedestrians probably once, maybe twice a week sometimes, especially school holidays.
I'm lucky so far not to have been involved in an actual incident, but I've had lots and lots of countless near misses.
Your heart goes into your mouth, you reach for the brake, you know that if something goes wrong, you're not going to stop.
It was one morning coming from the west, and I approached a crossing and there was a guy standing right in the middle of my tracks, but he was not facing me. At that same time, a freight train was actually coming from the other side, and he was standing right in the middle of my tracks looking at this freight train. You could clearly see he had these little earphones in his ears. I was blowing my horn. He couldn't hear me because the freight train was making such a noise. He just didn't see me until I hit him.
I've had 3 fatalities on the track, and it's something that you don't get used to. The shock is always with you.
Everything just happens in slow motion, although it happens actually quite fast. You know, you blow the horn constantly, and you put on the brakes so that the train doesn't stop immediately, and you just sit there. It's like you're talking to this person. It's like, get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. And then you just close your eyes. Well, I do, because you don't want to see it.
When it gets really, really close, for me, you end up getting quite hollow inside. Like all of a sudden you feel like there's just nothing in here. It really does feel like butterflies, but you know, the butterflies fills your entire chest. It's not a nice feeling. It's a really, really horrible feeling.
There's nothing you can do, just whistle on the horn, loud as you can.
There'd be nothing I could have done about that incident had that young girl walked out in front of my train. Nothing at all. I'd already done everything I possibly could.
Still remember it clear as the day.
We can't get out of their way, we can't swerve, we can't stop, we can't get out of their way.
It takes a while for the heart to slow down. I felt grateful that it hadn't happened and that it was just a near miss, but just a near miss is just a hair's breadth away from being the most horrible thing in your lifetime.
Remember, remove your headphones and don't talk on the cell phone while around train tracks. Keep yourselves safe.
Before you cross over the tracks, remember
Always expect trains in either direction at any time.
1985, a news clip of 22-month-old Dan Hanara recovering in hospital in Hamilton after being run over by a train.
To take on a train is a super miracle, you know.
Dan somehow got away while Mum was busy with the other kids.
The engine went completely over the top of this little boy. They needed to back off that engine and they found the child lying on the track.
Decades on, this is the first time Dan's been this close to a similar train he encountered as a toddler.
Oh wow, it's not even halfway up my shin. I have no idea how I survived under that thing.
He's now a mechanical engineer in Sydney, where safety is a huge focus, and he's home for Rail Safety Week to urge caution around tracks.
There are a lot of stories where the person in the incident isn't here today and is not talking. I'm lucky we don't want to rely on luck.
In the 12 months to June, there have been more than 30 collisions at level crossings involving vehicles or pedestrians and almost 300 near misses. Just this month, 2 people inside a car were killed near Palmerston North. Safety experts say it's more important than ever to heed the warnings.
In urban areas like Auckland and Wellington, where we've got electric trains, which are very quiet, we've got growing populations, so you're seeing more trains.
While daredevil behaviour's decreased, complacency's still an issue.
We've seen an increase in people using devices, listening to music on their phones.
And it's not just the victim that suffers.
Our drivers' families and colleagues, and you know, in those situations there's not a lot a driver can do.
Dan Hanara's experience hasn't put him off trains, quite the opposite actually, but he hopes no more families will go through what his did.
Look both ways, be aware of trains, take your headphones out, it's always a different day. Anything can happen, and it can happen to you.
And you can't always count on a miracle. Jenny Saw, One News.
So I remember this incident very well. It was morning peak. There's a level crossing right before the platform. The bell's going, the arms are down, the lights are flashing. I saw this woman walking up with a pram. I just thought, holy hell. I put it into brake with my right hand and put the horn on with my left hand. And after that, you're just a passenger, really. When you have the near misses, you still deal with the what ifs and you think about what could have happened. And so it's almost as if you've got to deal with the feelings as if you had taken them with you, you collected them. You know, I've got 2 young kids and I don't know, so. Yeah, I've seen drivers who have been taken off the road because the stress of what it's done to them. They happen every week, and drivers are coming in and talking about them every single week. Although, you know, we're not often very expressive people, train drivers, it does have an impact.
It's something that sticks with you. It doesn't go away. It's probably the closest feeling I've ever come to total helplessness. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Just think when you run in front of a train, there's someone in there who has to deal with that and try and deal with the effects of it.
Oh no, not the baby, not the baby.
Oh gosh, these are like pretty hard out, eh?
To be honest, it's probably something I think about every time I go past that crossing now.
This affects families, this doesn't just affect one person, yeah?
You may get across 9 times out of 10, but on that 10th time, it could cost you your life.